good morning, and welcome to your Business in Digital. We have a jam-packed shows for you today. We are talking platform takeover. We all know that we use all these cool platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the things, and we have to talk about what is happening in those spaces today. So super excited to be here. Guys, how are you doing this morning?
It's a great morning. It's a great morning, and always glad to be with you too. So good to see you. And yeah, are you over your whole, vacation yet, Michael? Have you had enough chance to recover and go back to the
Oh my
cold just
goodness.
yet?
It's only Monday, Michelle. It's only Monday. Good morning, everyone. Don't hit me so early in the morning. I am good. Welcome everybody. It's it feels a bit, can't believe the end of the year is literally around the corner. So that being said, happy Monday.
Right. And Andrea, we miss you, of course. And I guess somebody has a birthday coming up this week. A birthday, an anniversary, a Thanksgiving, like
And
all the things.
Thanksgiving all in one day. It's a trifecta this year.
Like the trifecta, right?
It's a trifecta.
That's amazing. Well, happy birthday in advance, but we'll be celebrating all week with you. All right, let's jump
Thank
in.
you.
Let's kick to the intro. All right. Good morning, and welcome to your Business in Digital. At your Business in Digital, we are talking to you about strategies that really help you get to that place of money in the bank. Those digital marketing strategies. We want you to leverage the digital that you're using. We know that we know that you spend a lot of money. We know that you spend a lot of time and effort. So we want you to see the ROI in those digital marketing activities. We want to help you achieve your business goals. I'm fumbling with words today. I do not know what is happening. But anyway, let me tell you how you can connect with us. You can connect with us in so many places. You can connect with us on YouTube. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. We are live in those spaces, Facebook, Instagram. You can also connect with us anywhere podcasts are found. We want you to tell a business executive about this show, right? Tell a CEO about the show. Tell a CMO about the show. Tell a CFO about this show. Tell a small business owner about this show. Because we want you to go back to that CFO and say, digital helped me increase my revenue by 10%, by 20% year over year. That's why we do this show, because we understand the importance of digital marketing strategies, and how it ties back to all your business goals. So tell people about this show. All right. Well, I know we have a jam-packed show. Of course, we have an amazing hot topic. Super excited about that one. So, Michelle, I'm going to kick it over to you to go through your hot topic. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, I thought this one was kind of timely because it is the travel week that we have going on right now, and this one popped up in my, I don't know which article came across, but it was about Clear Me. For those that are here that are stateside, one of the things that we use as we are going through our travel at the airport, or an option to us, is a expedited service called Clear Me, and it is expanding and revolutionizing industries, not just in travel, but I thought it was interesting to bring it here to our hot topic for your business and digital, because of what it's doing in other industries. Now, what is Clear Me? For those that don't know, it is something that came out about more than a decade ago. And what it has allowed many travelers to do is to expedite your way through the TSA process, initially, the security and identification verification process, by providing your information in advance and going through either fingerprint or retinal scan, getting through the security process faster. They've actually decided to move a little faster through this, and have launched through this other component of biometrics, where you can just basically walk past a camera and it's going to scan who you are, and you just keep moving. It will allow you to, instead of leaning in and letting it catch your retinal or putting your fingerprints in, it's already got your facial scan. It scans you and allows you in less than 2 or 3 seconds to be checked in and verified through the process. Now, what's so interesting about this is that this biometric system that they're using has been proven to be something that can be scalable in a secure technology that can be trusted and used across many an environment. So not just in travel, but they've expanded a bit and partnered and moved in other spaces. Now, Tamar, if you move to the next screen, what it has done is allowed this company, Clear, to move beyond travel. They have moved on to places like event locations, stadiums, concert arenas, healthcare providers, and used with event organizers. I can tell you, I was surprised a couple of months ago when my sisters and I were in DC, and we went to a concert in the downtown area, and we were able to move through getting into the event location because we had Clear. We walked up to an area, we passed a lot of people in line, and there were maybe 2 people in front of us, and we just flashed on our phones the Clear app, and were able to scan our tickets and get through security without an issue. This has really been a disruptor in this industry again, because what they have done is something that we talked about before. How can you scale? How can you up your business by utilizing your core components of your business, but apply it and partner in different areas? And what Clear has done is they've taken their technology and they're integrating that seamlessly in with their existing systems in other places that's going to offer a value proposition in healthcare, as I said, in stadiums. And what they're doing is looking for areas where things like security is really important, but you have to have an ID verification somehow, but to allow us to store information and use it in a great way. Now, if we go to the next way, one of the things that they're doing, and for small businesses, what I'm inviting you to consider is how they are utilizing this to broaden, expand, and to protect their own space in a way by leveraging what their core strength is. In other words, build on what you do best. You don't need to recreate the wheel in order to up your business. But what you can do is think about what your core business stands on and how many other places that you may apply it and partner with. Think beyond your industry. In this instance, where they started within travel, but what they realized that there were unconventional ways to utilize their particular technology, their business, pick it up, move it in different spaces, and find an untapped revenue stream. So where are other areas where your core business can work? And invest in technologies. Find if you have a way to do this, takes that scalable technology that can set your business and be your differentiator in other spaces. So I thought this was a really interesting one, especially since we are in a travel week, in a way that this, by the way, women-led business is moving business forward. And oh, I forgot, they had 2 more points on here. How does your business solve a pain point? If you're keeping your core challenge for your customers at the heart of what you're doing in your innovation, that's going to keep you relevant in every space. And then to build on that strategic partnership. This company, ClearMe, purposely went into spaces where there could be a win on both sides of the table. Where could we boost, as we said, I think last year, boost your visibility, have some credibility, something that gives you immediate, value and immediate credibility because you're partnering with somebody else that also has a name in the space that you're trying to walk into. So it's a warm introduction for your business. All right, team, what do you?
I love that. I love Clear. I mean, the convenience, the convenience of getting to the airport. That's where I've used it, right? Primarily, that connected with TSA pre-check is like golden. You're in the airport and you're kind of like, you walk through the door, right? And you see all these lines. And I think, the same thing you talked about with it being at the concert, right? You're now skipping ahead. So as a consumer, there is this almost VIP like feeling right? So number one, there's that feeling of VIP, but then you've provided all your information to get the background check. Now, somewhere the dark side of me is like super scary that they have all that information, right? They have your right, because it's your eyes, it's your fingerprints, but I'm
And
gonna
they've
stay
moved right past that a bit too. The latest thing, not in every airport, but they're rolling out in a lot of airports. They have it at LAX where it's facial recognition now. And so you just walk past what you don't realize is the camera, and it's scanning your face, and you're just walking right on the plane, and it's catching you right away. And that's the really, I know, thing that's scaring a lot of people, but that's the latest thing that's happening in a lot of major airports here in the States. And I know in a couple of locations internationally, they've already started doing this. So I
yeah.
thought that was
So I mean,
interesting.
technology and convenience, right? There is the scary side, but as a traveler, you're kind of like, get me on the plane, get me through. You see these lines and they're intimidating, right? And I'm like, my thought process is always like, who do I know at the front of the line? So with Clear, I'm like, I'm at the front of the line. So I'm a fan of it. And I love what they're doing. I love the partnership. I love how they're growing the business, right? So they thought everything through, and it fits into so many different spaces. So the revenue potential is unbelievable. So for small businesses, you really have to think about your product or service and where else can it fit? What other markets can it fit? So you can really start to grow your business and expand your reach. So yeah, this was an awesome topic.
Definitely. And I think, you ended just where I wanted to start, that use of tech alternatively, right? So asking yourself as a small business, where else or how else can my product or service be used, right? So you may have gone into the market and you had a specific target. In this case, airport security, as I said, big deal, but everything has a security component. So it makes sense to expand into those areas, and events are such a big area, right? And just hearing you all describe that VIP feeling, it's a pain point. And even though you're not looking for a VIP feeling as the resolve, it ends up being part of the resolve, right? That you feel like a VIP. So I really like that takeaway of being able to look at your product service offering and start to expand that reach of, where can this also be implemented? Who else experiences a similar pain point? Where can I adapt this product process, to make a difference, maybe in a completely different industry that opens up a whole new market for me. So great, hot topic, Michelle.
All right, we love that. So we're moving on to our other favorite segments. I feel like we haven't talked about it in a while, or go beyond the like segments. And our go beyond the like segment is where we talk you through right. Our go beyond the like segment is where we take you beyond those likes and follows to getting to that place of strategy, to getting to that place of money in the bank, to getting to that place of connecting your business goals. So today we are talking platform takeover. So we all understand that we're using a bunch of platforms, channels, all the stuff, right? I mean, we're coming to you here from a platform called StreamYard. We're broadcasting across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Like, we're literally on every platform right now as we speak. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're going to upload to Spotify after, Apple Podcasts. So we're literally on every platform you can think of. And so it's just a part of our business, right? And it's a part of your business. So we want to really keep you up to date on what's happening, things to consider. So this week it is all platform takeover. And there's some really interesting things happening with these platforms and channels. And, sometimes I know you don't have the time to think about what's new, what's new with these platforms and channels. So that's why we're bringing this information to you. So I'm super pumped about this conversation today. And we're going to start off by talking about Meta, because, Facebook is back. Instagram. So Meta it comprises of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, right? And here's what they're doing now. they have really simplified tracking to get you to a point where what we're talking about is just views. And we are seeing it. I was actually just looking at it we see it all the time now on our Facebook. The output for the show, the video views, I was telling the team this last week, it's gotten really, the video views on Facebook have really picked up for us, right? So we're seeing, how they're really focusing in on this one metric. There's still more metrics, but I think they've consolidated things. So people can now say, okay, this has gotten this amount of views, this piece of content. So you can now start looking to better understand what content is performing best, right? So before I get ahead of myself. So let's talk a little bit about what this really means, right? So Facebook, both platforms, Instagram and Facebook, have kind of done this unification, right? It's a content performance metric and it's called views. So it's replacing impressions and plays. Impressions are definitely one of those conversations that's always like, is it kind of like a billboard? And then I got these impressions, but then I got these plays. So they've combined everything to say, hey, here are the number of views that you got. So what will happen is that stories, texts, and photos will also count repeat views, leading to probably higher reported numbers. So you may want to consider how are you isolating, maybe unique views. So some of the numbers could be a little bit inflated. So you want to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. And so they're also introducing the minutes viewed and the average minutes viewed for video content. So which is really a great thing, because you want to understand as a business owner, you want to understand if you're creating content, okay, if I have an hour-long set of content, are people, how much are they consuming? Are they consuming the first 15 minutes, the first 8 minutes, what's the average minutes viewed? That's something that we actually get from YouTube. So this is something that they're, maybe borrowing, standardizing across. So as people look at their platforms and channels, they start to see some similar metrics. So what does it mean for you as a business, right? It really means that it allows you to, focus in on the reach of all your content across all platforms. So now you have this one consistent metric that's really not confusing anymore. These are the number of views I got, right? It's not the be all and end all metric, of course. It's that, I want to say it's that first, maybe vanity metric. It's the first metric you'll see, but you want to look at the other things as well too, right? So this is not saying, hey, everything else is gone. We want to continue to look at click-through rate. We want to continue to look when we move them over to our platforms, what's happening. But what they've done is they've simplified things for you. So you're not in your head and thinking about, again, impressions, plays, and what all those things mean. The other thing we're looking at is we're looking at engagement over reach. So higher views may inflate the numbers, but what we want you to do is concentrate on that engagement metric, like shares and comments, and gauge that true audience interest. So again, you can't just look at the views. You have to look to see overall, are people engaging with you, right? Are they engaged with the content? Is this the right content for them? And your content strategy, you want to make sure you align that content strategy with the video trends to maximize that visibility. It still comes back to having relevant content. So this change doesn't, you don't have to make a lot of changes to support this change in tracking around views, but what you do want to do is pay attention to the content you're creating, making sure it's relevant content, and making sure that you understand how you're moving people to either connect with you, to come off the platform, to get into your world. But you definitely want to start paying attention to see, hey, where are the views? How are they working? And what are you seeing on your end? So team, I'm gonna kick it over to you guys to take over.
I think it's interesting how I want to say subtle with it they've been, in that the integration between Facebook and Instagram, and how it's helping those that don't know the spaces really well understand what omni-channel presence is, because it's almost intuitive in how it's almost asking you, do you want to push the information from this place to this place? This audience is in both places. Do you want to push it to your contacts in each space? But when they normalize the verbiage behind it, it allows people to have an easier understanding, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And like, here's a simplified way of looking at it. It's not so crazy and awesome that you can't just learn it and push people back. One of the things I think we find with a number of small businesses that are entering this marketing space is that it seems so overwhelming. They don't understand the terminology. It's like a foreign language to you, so they just don't want to enter the space at all. But when I think one of the things that Meta has done to help that cause has to say, let me simplify it for you. Just look at views, look at this, and look at time, like you said, engaged. And just like you as a person, the longer you watch something, the more you retain it, the more you're going to want to go back. So it allows you to find a simpler way to understand it as a layman versus having, multiple degrees and marketing in multiple places for you to really gain a true understanding of, is it working? Am I doing what I need to do? And is it bringing business into my business? So I just think it's really interesting how they simplified it. It's still, as my brother, hey Andre, called it a mini cult, but it's something that's necessary in a place of engagement because it is coming back. We talked about, yes, he's got a thing he calls, that a cult, as well as anybody with an Apple device that we're in a cult. So Andre, come to the show one day. We'll bring you in and talk to you about the little problem that you have there. But he listens to the show. That's why I'm saying he's an active listener of our show and a supporter. So I needed to just drop that down so that I can harass him a little bit as my big brother.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad I'm not your big brother. So, I like this topic because I'm going to take us back to a conversation we had about Netflix and time in app, and they're shifting their metric, right? And this rings of the same, same tone. I must say that it's looking at literally what did you watch, right? So no longer that browse, that high level browse that you're just scrolling and scrolling. They're trying to get you to interact, to engage more directly with the content and measuring it by a simple metric. Did you watch it or did you not? Tamari mentioned YouTube. We've been looking at that on YouTube, and it's such a important metric to look at, that average watch time, to understand, how much of your content is really resonating. So it's interesting that they're making this shift. I think along with what we've been saying about Facebook and its quiet comeback is that, there are these subtle shifts toward time in app and boosting that time spent in app. So doing it through the creators, doing it by changing a metric, really sound strategy. And of course, for us as small businesses, it makes sense, right? So as you said, we want to make sure that we are getting the right content out and that we are measuring it in the right way. So those confusing metrics of impressions, etc., glad to see them gone, so we don't have to really worry about them, that billboard effect. You really need to worry with who's come in your door.
And I think Facebook may have to thank Apple for the cult. No shade, Andre. I'm just because remember when they made those changes to the metrics, right? And you weren't getting the metrics the way you were getting it once Apple said, hey, privacy issues, and people could opt out of being tracked. So Facebook had to do a really good job of saying, hey, okay, great, on platform experience, we have to get better at this. We have to get better at delivering metrics. And someone over there was just like, let's just simplify it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. Remember like about a year or so ago, I was just like, Facebook, I hated it, right? Now I was like, all right, Mark, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see that, again, you've made Facebook more relevant. What we thought, when I talk to so many people, sometimes they're like, I hate Facebook. And I'm just like, well, if you're on Instagram, they're pushing to Facebook, right? It's just the integration. You just can't hate Facebook. You cannot hate Facebook.
Integrated. And they are just pushing, and they make it easier. They've made it easier. They push the videos over the reels. They've integrated the two, and you're right. Then they pretty much tell you, if you come on Instagram, you're going on Facebook. You do know you're going on Facebook. I'm pushing you there. Like, you don't have a choice.
Right. Right. So Gen Zers now have to have Facebook profiles. Just crazy to me.
Whole different world. Whole different world.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that takes us to the second platform. Let's look at TikTok. So TikTok AI avatars, and this is an extremely interesting one. And it's a closer look at, excuse me for the pronunciation, is it Douyin 5 project, right? And its implications for the Western markets. So let's get into this one. So TikTok's Chinese counterpart, and that's the platform Douyin, or Douyin, not sure. And it introduces the 5 project, and it allows creators to generate AI avatars that engage users in real time, even when you're offline. Now, the virtual avatars can respond to comments, DMs, and they can even host live streams. Wow, look at that. so, so that's just the tip of the iceberg. What does this, takeaways for small business? I don't even know where to start. There's an automation potential that you must want to explore. A key part of growth is automation, and automation just means literally cloning those parts that do well. So I like to say, like, when we're talking to a salesperson, I'm trying to replicate that salesperson through automation. I want to make sure that the customer has the same journey or close to the same journey. So looking at it from that automation potential, being able to clone yourself, being able to have that salesperson, that sales representative that's on call 24/7 working for you. And of course, easing your workload, because of while we may try to drive more calls to our business, and so taking and fielding calls takes time, and sorting those calls takes time. So what if you had this AI assistant and it's generated according to your brand, etc., and so on? And that's the other part, brand experimentation. These AI avatars, this is only the tip of the iceberg, as I said, and it makes sense that they are able to link with the AI, powered chatbots, etc. So you want to look at what's that brand experimentation. Try generating, an AI for your brand, an AI avatar. What does that representative look like? Now, we know this has been a hot topic in terms of the fashion industry and so on beforehand, where, and even in film industry as well, about these using these avatars, right? So there's that question, do you want to use an avatar? There's a bigger brand question as you develop your avatar. So you want to pay special attention and still deal with a brand specialist as you create these avatars, but definitely something you want to look at. And why am I saying that? Because, of course, one rule that doesn't change online is that you want to be authentic. So you don't want to create an avatar that, yes, it's genuine, it's human, but it's not really representative of your brand. So this kind of takes me back to what Deborah Mitchell said on the show at one time, where you get this image in your head when you read something. You get this voice in your head that there's a picture. So if I read a book and I read about a character, I'm thinking the character probably looks like this or probably sounds like this. And then when it makes it to the movie, it's something different. So you've got to make sure that you're staying authentic to your brand, even when you're experimenting with these types of new features in the market. But all in all, I would say I'm very excited about this type of feature, to see it come into regular TikTok and see what it looks like when you start developing an avatar for your brand. What do you all think?
Let me give you a round of applause first for, this season. I mean, we talked about this, right? We talked about this on one show. We talked about these AI avatars. We actually have a quick and dirty on how to create them. We should do it. But I think there's value there. It comes back to the technology and it being a little bit scary, but having an avatar, I would have a Tamara avatar. I just like, absolutely would. And it makes it would be, but educating, right? It would really to be taking bite-sized bits of this show, educating. You just imagine creating an avatar and someone comes into your platform while they're scrolling late at night and they have questions, and that avatar is just able to engage and interact with them, with my laugh, with my Beyond the Likes sweatshirt on. It'll be funny, but it'll be good because now people are getting something that it's going to help move them through the funnel a lot sooner, and it answers all their questions. So I think, again, very scary, but it's a great opportunity for a small business, and that automation is important, and it means that you are literally open 24/7. So there's no way people can't get the answers that they need. So I like the idea of it. It's already moving into the Western markets. I think they may be using it a little bit different, but these avatars already have, we're seeing that these avatars already have followers of their own. They're building that fan base, and people tend to, it's weird how people like the AI feel, right? They like the AI avatar, they like AI generated images. It's just very interesting how people are responding to it, at least right now, as the trend has just started to come forward. So I'm here for it. I think it's a great hot topic. We look to see how does this translate over into TikTok, and then what happens next.
From a sales perspective, I find it utterly fascinating in that, like, for especially for businesses that you think you're local, or you're now, because everything's online, you're able to expand and not just be domestic but be international. And this helps to break barriers that exist when you don't know a specific language, because this thing, you can have this avatar speak multiple languages. It can, it I've always wanted to speak French. I could, my avatar is Lonnie, that's the short for Lanyap. She's Lonnie. And, she's, she would be divine with the French accent. And think about how sometimes that warms the room. It helps to gain the trust, because it's when you're able to speak the language, understand the culture, and to navigate through those components, that trust factor, you get beyond it. And like you said, the 24/7 component. And your avatar could be multiple avatars. It could be based upon the personas of your different audiences, that it could be a man and not a woman, or whatever you want it to be. And I find that interesting, that you can play an A/B test that, perhaps, to see what works in different markets. It might not be, it might vary. So I think it would be interesting to understand how that's been working in other areas, and just how we can be creative and apply it, as you said, in Western markets, to see how we can move a business forward. But we also talked about this earlier, and how the ability, if you have your core, it has to learn you and your voice. But if you have those core components already built for your business, it's teaching, it to understand your business, not finding your voice, but because you already have your voice. It's teaching it to speak like you, and to talk like you, and to answer like you, and have all of those FAQs answered already, as much as you can. And then the reference, when you can't, that we will need to get back to you, whatever it is. But I think it's interesting to see how we can progress through. And the Jetsons did it 30 years ago. So come on, the Jetsons did it years ago. Let's catch up to the cartoon.
And listen, you
I like
just
the
raised such a
idea.
good point. Go ahead, Tamara. Go ahead.
I like the idea of choose your avatar, right? So someone gets to your website and it's kind of like choose your avatar, right? Do you want a Michelle? Do you want a Michael? You want a Tamara? Choose your avatar, and then that person gets the experience that they want. So I'm just saying.
Look, my sister Jennifer, she picks her different her different voice on her GPS. Think about that. You can choose the voice you want. You want a male or female? Do you want them to be British? Do you want them to have a Trini accent? You can pick one, and I think it's really fascinating that you can personalize the experience, perhaps. Who knows? I just think it's interesting, an interesting road for us to walk down.
I think you all both just highlighted exactly where it's probably going to go next, because my brain went to what do CRMs do, right? So, based on that customer data, then I now have a team, an avatar team, right? And based on my interactions with you before, etc., where you came in, it will determine which avatar you get. And, I now have not just one avatar, but a sales team of avatars. So whole new kind of worms that's just like, but it could definitely, where AI is going with, the interpretation of the data, interpretation of customer behavior, it makes total sense that next iteration of an AI avatar would be to absolutely morph itself depending on the customer or the customer behavior.
Love it, love it, love it. So good, so good. Let me give you a round of applause. All right, moving on to our next point. Michelle, are you good?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good. So this one, back to Instagram. And you know what I love about this is it actually caters back to a couple of shows ago when we were talking about email cleanup. But in this instance, it's an Instagram where there is an audience cleanup tool that will help you to inactivate profiles that are just not good and wasting your ad targeting. So it will help you to improve your engagement metrics because you're delivering your ads to people that are engaging with you and that are appropriate for your particular business. So think about how you as an individual that you've opted in on emails for places that you may have once engaged with, or you wanted a one-time thing, but you keep getting these emails from these people and you're just deleting them instead of opting yourself out. Well, from this perspective, it lets you take ownership of this and actually helps you to clean up your own profile and those that are engaging with you as your followers, and pushing out the keeping in, I should say, the appropriate people, and so that you can push out the targeted ads and have the appropriate engagement versus just sending your ads to I don't want to say dead people, but people who are not interested in you. So you're inviting the audience in that's important for your business and delivering that targeted message to those that are important to you. So I like it because in just the surface, I know how difficult it can be to clean up your email target list, your email list that you have. And they are providing, again, trying to make it easy for you to work with their platform, giving you a tool to help you to clean up and keep the appropriate audience in your environment, and allowing you to market to them because they want your money too, and they want you to make money off of that ad targeting. So it's giving you the ability to appropriately engage the appropriate audience for you, have that higher engagement, and have a higher just interactions back and forth, and move things through your sales funnel, and to have people come into your world that's appropriate for your business. So anything that's going to help me to be a better administrator of information and to use the tool better and to have, not have better numbers, I'm going to at least try to figure out how to utilize that tool, because we're talking and we don't want to be in dead spaces. We want to engage the right people at the right time and have higher engagement, even if it's a smaller audience. And if this is going to help me to clean that up, then I'm all for it.
I think you're so right. And just like with email, right? We're so big on big numbers, right? We're like, I have 1 million followers. And you're just like, well, how many of them are engaging with you? How many of them are really your potential target audience? So this allows us to get really clean and focus in on the people that want to be in the space, the people that are consuming the content, that can either share your message forward or could potentially become your customer. And I think it's a smart move. So we have to now look across all these platforms. What's the cleanup, right? What's the data hygiene process for your business, right? When you jump into Instagram, if you're like, all right, you know what? I have 1,000 followers, but I only have 2 or 3 interactions. So now it's going back to say, okay, no one has, and this is not for the lurkers, because I know sometimes I lurk. So that should track as a view, right? So these are for the people that are just absolutely not engaged, not coming to your platform, not seeing your content, may not be relevant. Again, in the beginning, when we're building our audiences, right, we're like, oh, friends, family, you invite everyone, all that stuff. Are those the people that you need to get rid of? Because your numbers become better when it's the right audience for you. So think about cleanup all the time. We talk to clients about it in email, and now here's Instagram saying you should be doing this on your profile as well to get rid of those people who are just bogging you down. You're not paying for them currently. That's the difference between email and Instagram, right? In email, you're actually paying for those people in that database that may not be engaging with you. So in Instagram, and maybe at some point in time, we might be paying, you just don't, it's just not helpful. And then, What about the people that have bought followers? Oh my goodness. All right. So that's another thing too, right? Even when we talked about Facebook, we talked about engagement being an important metric after the views, right? Shares, reposts, that engagement is still important. So if you purchased followers, that's something that you want to consider. You have to go through and start cleaning that up, because these people are not necessarily engaging with your content. They don't want to be there. You force them to be there. So yeah, I really, really like this. The hygiene of your data becomes important in all these platforms.
And one other thing too, but Michael, before I let you go on this, is I think about before they rolled this out that I have 3 different profiles on Instagram, 3, and they serve different purposes for me. Over the course of my time with Instagram, I've developed other things, and I remember trying to go in and clean up my primary before I moved on to the others and their uses, and I just got exhausted and said, forget it, I'll just deal with it there. And when I went onto Threads asked me, do you want to import your profile? It was going to pull everyone. And I'm like, heck no, that's just too many crazies over there. So I think this was perfect, because had I approached it differently, I would have not opted in and followed so many people from the initial when I first went in to clean it up. And I think it's important that you consider those people like me who have both personal and professional profiles, but that serve different purposes, that, it behooves you to utilize it and have a strategy against what you're trying to do as you go in and clean that list up.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm talking from that email perspective as well. And that email list cleaning, there's a direct cost. I would say for Instagram, there's still a cost. It's just not direct. So let's say that your content was, crossing audiences. So for some reason you were talking, let's say like on this show, we talk about a hot topic, and we may talk about something that absolutely reaches a number of audiences that are not our core audience. So you end up thinking that you have to create content for 1,000 people, but you really need to create content for 100 people, let's say, right? Now, it's going to be a wake-up call. I project this will be a wake-up call for a lot of profiles, a lot of business owners. And in the same way it has been for a lot of email users when they clean their list, that you see that active number and that engaged number is actually really a fraction of your total followers, and a small fraction at that. So don't panic. I'd say don't panic. It's all learning, and it can help you hone that content going forward for that 100 that, and you want to get more of those hundreds that are actually engaged, that actually go through your funnel, that actually, go through the buyer's journey, etc. So it's a really great feature, because yes, data integrity is important. You want to make sure you're reading the data correctly. You want to make sure you're reading that the response to the content, you're reading it correctly. So if your 1,000 followers were responding because you did memes and so on, then, it's going to tell you, well, listen, that's not really a core audience. Get out of there, right? So I think this is a fantastic feature. It's such a simple thing and easy to just overlook, but absolutely something that all small businesses should do. And email being the guide, that you need a clean list, and you want to have a manageable list that you are confident in that conversion ratio from that list.
Oh man, these platform takeovers, I love these conversations. They're so good. It's like bam, 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 bam. All right, next one. This is one of my favorites. So I don't know, most of you know that I have a product that I'm actually gonna really fully release kind of in January, maybe December. And I've been working a lot with LinkedIn Sales Navigator and helping people to build their prospect list, right? So many times folks start off doing business and they're like, hey, they get to networking events, sharing their business cards, but sometimes you really need a true prospect list. Michelle, as a salesperson, you understand the value of a prospect list that you can really start working, building, and connecting with. So LinkedIn has a AI power play. So it has this enhancement to Sales Navigator with Lead IQ and Account IQ tools that streamline outreach and help you stand out in the crowded sales landscape. So what does that mean? So first of all, if you're not familiar with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, what is it? LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a paid tool on LinkedIn. It costs $99 a month, but it is the best $99 you will ever spend, because what it does, it allows you to build a list of people who you could potentially sell your product or service to. You can do a list of people, you can do a list of accounts, so you can look at it from the business standpoint, and it gives you a lot of great information. It feeds in, if it's an account, it feeds in information like, hey, here's how many people work there, here's how much money they made last year, or here's their range of revenue. It tells you about, again, you're able to build a list of people. And then what it does is it creates these lists for you, or you create the list, and then it starts to use AI to feed you more information. So you have an understanding of, if I have Michelle on my list, for instance, I can look at Michelle and I can say, hey, okay, let me see what's going on in Michelle's world. Oh, Michelle posted content and she's asking questions about Instagram and the cleanup tool. Great. I can now jump in and say, hey, here's how you leverage this. Consider it some of the things we talked about. I can respond to her post and talk to her about that. Now, all of a sudden, Michelle's like, oh, who is this Tamara lady? You know what I mean? She's responding to my posts. We're engaging. We're building a relationship. So I can see what she's posting. I can see what's happening in her world. I can understand a lot more about her as my potential, as a prospect that could that can turn into a potential lead that can turn into business for me. So that's a really, really powerful tool, right? So that's a snapshot of just LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So this new Lead IQ tool summarizes key insights about leads, their experience, their recent achievements. So it allows for just smarter outreach. So it's consolidating this information for you. Exactly what I talked about, right? With Michelle, it'll say, hey, here's what she posted. Here's what's happened recently. Oh, if she got an award, here's an award that she got. So you can now start really thinking about, if you're creating an email to send to Michelle, for instance, you're going to say, hey, I saw that you got this award. Congratulations. You don't have to go in for the sell right away. You're still thinking about those 10 touch points before you ask for a meeting or a sale. Right now, you're building that relationship. You're starting to consume her content. And it allows you to just learn a little bit more about her, right? So it comes in, as I mentioned, it comes in from a lead standpoint, as well as comes in from an account standpoint. It offers tailored insights into how your products could help a specific organization. So I was working with a client the other day who does workplace well-being trainings, and we were looking at an account. And once we started looking at the account, she identified right away that this account, based on some data points, she was able to see that they don't have a workplace well-being program. So that account is now on her list as an opportunity. We were then able to go in and look at leads, people who work in the account or the HR team, to say, okay, great, this is the HR director, this is the HR manager, this is the HR specialists. These are now the people that are in her org chart within LinkedIn Sales Navigator, so she can start building relationships with them and start eventually getting to a point where she can start pitching that content to them, driving them over to her business page, for instance, and then posting content about workplace well-being and the importance of workplace well-being. So the tool is, this AI power in the tool is giving you the information, that snapshot information right away, to say, you built this prospect list. Now here's more information to build that know, like, trust factor, right? Because that's what we have to do when we're talking to people, when we're meeting people. Even if we meet them in the streets, if we meet them at in the streets, not in the streets, but if you meet them at a networking event, you still have to build a relationship with them before they buy from you. This is just the other way around. How are we moving this same process online? How are you building that relationship? So key takeaways for business, right? You want to streamline outreach. Use AI tools to save time on research and craft those personalized pitches. This is what this allows you to do, right? To really lean in and craft that personalized content to support them. I know sometimes we're all getting, people in our LinkedIn inbox trying to sell us stuff, using the tool maybe in a way that's a little bit more, hey, if I hit 2,000 people, at least two of them will convert. Well, you want to be more thoughtful and create that personalized content, because if I can see me in your content, then I understand that you're speaking to me, right? You're not just speaking around me or to everyone in that same general way. There's a competitive advantage. Leverage these insights to prepare for meetings. So Sales Navigator, it's not my new directory. I go there first for anything. So you can leverage this information to talk about it in meetings. So let's say you've moved the conversation to the next point, to the next phase. Now you can use it to prepare for that meeting. You can also verify that data to make sure it's accurate, right? You now have a base of, okay, AI gave me this information. Let me go back and do the research. Now, keep in mind, with a tool like LinkedIn, the user, right, that person you're trying to connect with, that lead, is actually feeding LinkedIn the information. So then going back to verify should be easy enough. Going back to do the research on the company should be easy enough, but you're starting with a great base. Again, I cannot talk about this tool. I'm so happy with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It is one of the greatest tools to come out of LinkedIn. It's such a robust platform. Shout outs to Microsoft for keeping moving the needle. What I'd like you to change, though, is in my list, I want to be able to add more than 25 people at a time. That's the only thing. Okay, Microsoft, just make that one change on LinkedIn Sales Navigator and we'll be good. But what do you guys think?
The sales girl in me loves this, because there's a core component that I speak to my lanyard clients about, is that you have to do your homework. That there's nothing worse than somebody sending you a cold message or inbox message that says, "Hello, Michelle M." And it's so impersonal. So I love it that it's your own personal private investigator. It will serve up information to you that makes it a little bit more personal and does the work for you. And additionally, things that you aren't even thinking about, AI is assessing and serving information up to you that you might not have, from your lens, considered, but it's giving you additional information for you to now add to your recipe and add to your toolbox of things for you to warm up the environment and to qualify the business a bit more too. It will help you to understand, is this person still right for my business? I see all of the analytics, but this helps to actually personalize it a bit more for you and put a personality behind the stats that you see. One of the things that we've spoken about here in this space is that you have to ensure that not only are you right for the business, but are they right for you, right for your business? And in LinkedIn, this is more B2B than a B2C, type of environment. So it is important for you to invite the right people into your world, and that AI component helps you to get to that space a bit faster and understand and give you a fuller picture and put some color against it as well. So I'm enjoying that from a sales perspective, because it warms the space for you quite a lot.
Indeed. And I love it from an operations perspective, right? Because I can just see your whole process just kind of line up and said, okay, today I do this on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I collect the leads, I get the summaries, etc. And then I start to literally, can I run this up against the information, the added information that it gives to me? Can I run this up against my sales track? So am I really speaking to the right pain points, right? So that data that it's giving and that heavy lifting that it's doing, it's bar none. And, as Tamara said, it should be a favorite place to live. You should be looking at generating those leads regularly. Have that process in place that you're utilizing this to get that added information. Even that sales side of it, being able to hone in on pain points quickly and current pain points rather than general pain points, right? So that you may know, the pain point of the travel industry, as we were talking, is, security and the time to clear and stuff. But is there a specific pain point that a specific company has, right? And this is definitely a way to lean into it and say, well, use AI for good, right? We are far beyond AI just for content creation, far, far beyond. So this is definitely one use that, again, among the other things that we've talked about this morning, I think it's a top 10 for sure.
Top 10 for sure. We love that. All right. So we're at that point where we've made it to the end. Andrew, we missed you, and we know you would have loved so many of these tools. And I know you're watching us on Instagram. So we'll get your feedback on Wednesday. All right. So team, it's time for our 30-second wrap up. So Michelle, I'm going to kick it over to you first.
I love when we do platform takeover because it allows us to stretch ourselves a little bit. From a sales perspective, each one of these areas has allowed us to really consider our audience, consider what our strategy is, and understand how do we layer AI, how do we layer technology, how do we understand a pain point that we need to resolve and utilize each one of these different platforms to accelerate a relationship and to move our business forward. If we just take what we have in our core business plan for our business, make sure that we are aligned with the strategies that enter each one of these platforms in a way that helps us to be a lot more efficient, helps us to really engage better with our audience, and in the long run, allow our business to be sustainable and here for the long haul. These platforms are not going away. We just need to understand which ones are the right ones for us, keep up with the technology that they are enhancing as time moves along, and understand how we take some of those core lessons like partnerships and acceleration and being a disruptor in the market to help to differentiate your business, and how those platforms can help you to do that. So lean in hard, pick the right ones, but ensure that it aligns with your strategies for your business.
Well, Mike.
So my takeaway, definitely, the automation pieces. So a lot of these platforms, AI is giving you that automation opportunity. You definitely want to disconnect the word automation from the word cold. Now automation can absolutely give that customer, that potential customer, a personalized feeling, a personalized touch. Your brand can really reach further through automation. So of all the things that we talk about, you definitely want to keep an eye on your platforms that you're using and where AI and automation can help you to make your processes repeatable, easy, and more impactful in terms of driving more leads to your door, more conversions for your business. So I know that's not quite 30 seconds, but that's my bit for this. That's okay. It was just less than 30. That's all right.
Less than 30
You're good.
seconds.
You're good.
Fine. 100%. So listen, guys, we understand that this is a lot of information, right? We understand this could be super daunting as well, too. We're not taking that for granted because you're like, I'm on these platforms, I'm building a website, I'm doing SEO, and I got to remember all this stuff too. You don't have to remember all this stuff. You got to come watch the show. But it's important that you are on top of the trends, and it's important that you are efficient when you're using these platforms. Sometimes we're using these platforms for so many years and we think the same rules apply when the rules have changed, and you want to be aware of those changes because it's going to impact your business and what you do. You may see less interaction, less engagement, and how are you moving to get to that point where you are maximizing these platforms? These are tools for your business. It's a part of your online presence, your online strategy to still get you back to your business goals, right? So that's why it's important to pay attention to it. Use the AI, use all the things that we've talked about here to get you to that place of efficiency, saving you some time, and getting you to that point where you're in front of the right target audience. Because we talked about that a lot today, right? We talked about it just from the platform standpoint. So it's really the same principle. We know it can be daunting, but we're here for you. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. This show was awesome. I had so much fun with you guys. Andrea, we always miss you. Can't wait to see you on Wednesday. Have an amazing, amazing Monday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. If you don't get to connect with us on Wednesday, that's fine. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone celebrating. And we're celebrating Michelle's anniversary, birthday, and Thanksgiving all week long. So the trifecta. Have an amazing day, guys. Take care. Bye.